Naruto, copy everything from the Uzumaki Clan. Episode 121. In the blink of an eye, time passed mercilessly for half a year, and Xingyu finally passed his 12-year-old birthday and became a 12-year-old teenager. It doesn't really matter what birthday is not a birthday, what matters is that Xingyu has another copy card again, or a premium copy card. Now seeing the high-level copy card, Xingyu's heart did not have much excitement, and as his strength improved, the use of the high-level copy card for him became more and more limited. At this time, Xingyu has perfectly mastered the immortal mode in the past half a year, and he can enter the immortal mode in an instant, and the time to maintain the immortal mode is not a problem. During the battle, Star Feather can also continue to absorb natural energy, and theoretically can maintain the immortal mode forever. It is worth mentioning that Kushina also learned the immortal mode, but Mikoto did not. Maybe she can learn the immortal mode in the future. Xingyu has eaten, let you taste the food I made. Kushina shouted at Xingyu. Xingyu's expression was a little stiff, and he said without turning his head, I'm not hungry now, you guys eat first. Recently, I don't know if Kushina has a brain problem, and often goes to the kitchen to learn to cook with Mikoto, but all he makes is dark cooking. Xingyu said that even if he had a perfect immortal body, he couldn't bear the dark dishes made by Kushina, and he would rather go hungry than eat it. Liar, you just said that you were hungry, let Mikoto cook. Kushina pouted, is it? Did I just say that? Sorry, I don't remember. Xingyu shook his head to deny it, remembering that yesterday he tasted the dark cuisine made by Kushina under Kushina's pleading, and ended up vomiting for an hour. The power is so terrifying, Xingyu thinks that the poison is just that. If you don't eat, forget it, be hungry, Kushina snorted angrily, and then walked into the room. After a while, Mikoto came out and asked Hashiha to eat, and told Hashiba that the dark dishes made by Kushina had been dumped. Hearing this news, Xingyu dared to go in and eat. After lunch, Hashiwa and Mikoto chatted for a while, and then went to the courtyard to continue their cultivation. Although his cultivation has not improved his strength much now, even if he can increase a little, Xingyu will not be lazy, and his strength has improved day by day. Knock knock. Listening to the knock on the door in the courtyard, Hashiha walked over and opened the door, thinking it was a rope tree, but he didn't expect it to be, but a ninja in the dark part. Uzumaki Star Feather, Naruto-sama has sent an order for you to go to the battlefield. The dark ninja said to Hashiha, let me go to the battlefield? I've been feeling a little unwell lately, I'm afraid it's a little inconvenient. Xingyu was used to being leisurely at home, and he really didn't want to go to the battlefield. The dark ninja frowned, because there was a mask blocking it, so Hoshiyu couldn't see him frowning. Uzumaki Hoshiyu, now Konoha is in a critical moment, and the third generation of Hokage-sama has ordered you to go to the battlefield. When Hoshiyu heard this, Konoha was in a critical moment. Really fake? If it's true, then Xingyu really wants to go to the battlefield. After all, the mission has not been completed. Wasn't it normal before? Why is it suddenly critical now? Hoshiyu asked towards the dark ninja. According to the news that Hashiha learned before, Konoha village has stabilized in the face of Sand Shinobi village, Ninja village, and Iwa Shinobi village, and even wants to fight back. The situation is very good. Originally Xingyu still felt that he didn't need to make a move. Why was it suddenly critical? Yunin participated in the Second Shinobi World War and supported Wayne village. The dark ninja didn't mind talking to Hoshiyu either. Did I hear you right? Xingyu had a surprised look on his face. Ninja village's participation in the Second Ninja World War did not surprise Star Yu. What surprised Star Feather the most was that Ninja village actually reinforced Ninja village. According to the Second Ninja World War in the original book that Hashiha learned, the third generation of Thunder Kage led the Cloud Shinobu to attack the land of Earth. It was precisely because of the sneak attack of the three generations of Thunder Shadow that Inoki, who led the war between Iwa Shinobu and Konoha Ninja, had to withdraw from the war with Konoha and chose to return to defense. The result has changed now, and Yunin village actually chose to deal with Konoha. Okay, I'll go to the battlefield. Hoshiyu said to the dark ninja. Knowing the current situation, Xingyu couldn't sit still, and he had to go to the battlefield, unless he didn't want that god-level copy card. The dark ninja left, Hashiwa closed the door and returned to the living room, and said to Mikoto and Kushina, who were sitting in the living room chatting leisurely, clean up, we are going to the battlefield. What's wrong? Mikoto asked towards Hashiha. The group of guys from Yunin village are unconscious. They actually joined the war and attacked Konoha village together with other villages. Xingyu was a little angry in his heart. This was deliberately to block him from completing the task, right? System, you say, Yunin village's sudden attack on Konoha, does it have anything to do with you? Don't you want me to complete the task? Xingyu asked the system in his heart. Master, don't wrong the system. This has nothing to do with the system. All the changes in this world now are brought about by you. The system said that there were some grievances, which had nothing to do with it. Well, I'm just kidding you. Xingyu cleaned up, called Xiaonan, who was refining chakra in the room, and left together, rushing towards the battlefield of the Land of Rain. Why bring Xiaonan? It's dangerous on the battlefield. Mikoto said with some concern. It's dangerous on the battlefield, but Konoha is not necessarily safe. If I leave Konoha village by myself, I really don't worry. And Xiaonan doesn't want to stay, right? Xingyu touched Xiaonan's head and asked Xiaonan. Well, Xiaonan will try his best not to hold back. Xiaonan clenched a small fist and said towards Xingyu. Xiaonan's talent was already very good, plus he also worked hard, and now he is not weaker than a subordinate. Of course, Shinobu is cannon fodder on the battlefield, but Xingyu wants to protect Xiaonan, and it is still easy. Shoha, run faster for me again. Hoshiyu shouted at Shotsuru. That's right, this time to the battlefield. Hoshiyu they went to Shizuru, and after Hoshiyu returned to Konoha, Shoha also lay down in the Konoha forest for nearly a year. Morizuru was fat, but the speed of the rush was not slow, and in less than a day, he rushed from Konoha to the border location of the Fire Nation. At this time, the battlefield is no longer in the territory of the Land of Rain, and the Konoha ninja have been driven out of the Land of Rain, and the battlefield at this time is the border location of the Land of Rain and the Land of Fire. And the Konoha ninjas are now not divided into battles, they have been united, but the enemy ninjas are also united. The movement caused by Shizuru was very large, and as soon as he arrived on the battlefield, he alarmed the ninja of Konoha. The ape flying sun chop all came out, but after knowing that it was Shoha, the ape flying sun chop did not worry much, because he knew that Shoha had been controlled by the Whirlpool Star Feather, and the arrival of the Shoha meant that the Whirlpool Star Feather was coming. Episode 122. When he came to the battlefield, Hoshiyu saw a group of high-level ninjas in Konoha, greeting him, and he felt that his face was quite big. Xingyu didn't know that they were alarmed by Shoha's movement, so they came to check, and it was not something to greet him. Tsunade. Hoshiyu ignored the ape flying sun and slashed them, and waved at Tsunade, who had not seen Tsunade for a long time. Tsunade looked at Hoshiyu standing above Moritsuru's head, with a cold face, and the cold aura on his body made the surrounding ninjas stay away. Hashiha jumped off the head of Ichigo Moritsuru with Konan, and then Kushina and Mikoto jumped down along with him. Why are you not very happy to see me? I am so happy to see you, and you hurt my heart like this. Looking at Tsunade's cold face, Hashiya looked heartache. Humph, you stinky little devil still dares to say such things. For so long, you actually didn't come to the battlefield to see me. Tsunade snorted coldly and punched Hoshiyu head-on. Hoshiyu immediately stretched out his hand and took Tsunade's special greeting, smiled very awkwardly, and then defended. Isn't I very busy, so I don't have time. Huh, Tsunade suddenly sneered twice. Busy talking about love? Don't deny it, the rope tree told me. Xingyu scratched his hair. What did that kid from the rope tree say? Catching him definitely makes him look good. How can I smell a sour smell? It seems to be vinegar. Xingyu said with a light cough. What vinegar smell? The old lady is never jealous. As if he was embarrassed and angry, Tsunade punched at Hoshiyu again, and Hoshiyu quickly dodged Tsunade's fist. If the punch just now was not forceful, then this time Tsunade was definitely serious. Ahem, Tsunade, can you stop first? The ape flying sun chop, who was quite embarrassed, suddenly said that it was also to relieve Xingyu, so that Xingyu felt a lot more pleasing to see the ape flying sun. Humph. Tsunade snorted softly, giving Hashiha a look back to collect her eyes, before glancing at Kushina and Mikoto. Xingyu, you are here, this time it will be hard for you. Sarutobi showed an amiable smile at Xingyu. In fact, if it weren't for the fact that Konoha was really at a critical juncture now, Ape Flying Sun Chopper really didn't want to go to the battlefield with Uzumaki Star Feather. I learned that Konoha was in danger, and I couldn't sleep well, and as a member of Konoha village, I should make a contribution to Konoha, and I don't feel that there is anything hard. Xingyu said with a serious expression. The ape flying sun chop who said this was a little moved, and Shimura Danzo glanced at Xingyu and sneered. Compared with the ape flying sun, he should know more about the vortex star feather, and in Tuanzang's opinion, the words of the whirlpool star feather just now were just some high-sounding words. I didn't expect you to have this kind of enlightenment, little ghost. Jiraiya looked at Xingyu in surprise. That's nature, my consciousness is high. Xingyu smiled slightly, then ape flying sun chopper and Xingyu talked for a while, which was nothing more than pulling a relationship, and then Ape Flying Sun chopped them to leave. In the battlefield, Ape Flying Sun Chopper has more things to deal with, but he has no time to accompany Xingyu here to chat and pull relationships. Similarly, Xingyu is not willing to chat blindly with the old man of Ape Flying Sun, and he is not a beauty, so naturally he is not interested. After leaving Hashiba, Tsunade, Kushina, Mikoto, and Konan, the atmosphere suddenly became a little frozen, and Tsunade looked at Hashiba with dangerous eyes. I haven't seen each other for such a long time, I must have a good chat with Tsunade. Xingyu opened his mouth rather awkwardly, just to break the frozen atmosphere. Well, I just want to talk to you too. Tsunade looked at Hoshiyu with a smile, and the smiling Hoshiyu was a little flustered. I'll talk to Xingyu alone. Tsunade turned his head and looked at Kushina and Mikoto and said, No, who knows what you're going to do, we're going to follow. Shinai directly refused. Mikoto looked at Shinai with a puzzled expression, and Mikoto felt that this was nothing. Mikoto, you don't know much about this old woman Tsunade. This old woman has wanted old cows to eat tender grass since a long time ago. Kushina leaned into Mikoto's ear and whispered to Mikoto, what? Mikoto looked shocked, and then glanced at Tsunade rather warily. Shinai, what did you say to Mikoto? Tsunade frowned, although he hadn't heard what Kushina whispered to Mikoto, but seeing Mikoto's sudden vigilance towards her, he knew that it was definitely not a good thing. I mean, I haven't seen Tsunade's sister for a long time, so I want to talk to you, Mikoto, did you say? Shina said and touched Mikoto with her hand, signaling Mikoto to cooperate. That's right, Sister Tsunade, I haven't seen you for a long time, I want to talk to you. Mikoto immediately cooperated. Then another day. After Tsunade finished speaking, he directly dragged Hoshiyu and left. Kushina and Mikoto want to chase, but find that Tsunade's speed is too fast to catch up. Damn, Conan, follow us and go find the old woman Tsunade. Shinai said breathlessly. I don't think Tsunade's sister is old either. Xiaonan couldn't help but say, in my eyes, she is an old woman, don't say much, hurry up and find her. Kushina picked up Conan, and then went with Mikoto to track down Tsunade and Hashiba. In the forest not far from the Konoha camp, Tsunade looked at Hashiha with his hands folded, sneered, and then said, don't you have anything to say? I want to say Tsunade, are you jealous? Xingyu smiled slightly, not meaning to be afraid. Nope. Tsunade said expressionlessly, but your performance is obvious now. Hoshiyu leaned closer to Tsunade and said, don't look at Hoshiyu is only 12 years old, but his height is now about the same as Tsunade. At this time, Hashiha stood in front of Tsunade, looking at Tsunade at eye level, and because of the relatively close distance, Tsunade's face turned red uncontrollably. This is the first time I've seen Tsunade, you're shy, and I thought you wouldn't be shy as a woman. Xingyu smiled and said, what do you mean? Tsunade couldn't help but be annoyed. Ahem, Tsunade, didn't you pull me to talk to me? Now Tsunade, what do you want to talk about? Xingyu changed the subject. You and Shinai and Mikoto have had a very moist time during this time, you won't forget me, right? Tsunade said just now that he was not jealous, and every word he said now carried a smell of vinegar, which was still the kind of old vinegar that was old for thousands of years. No, how dare I forget Tsunade-sama, otherwise I won't be killed by you. Xingyu deliberately showed a look of trepidation. Tsunade sneered when he saw this, but after laughing, Tsunade remembered that he was going to ask Hashiha for sin, so he straightened his face again. Just as Tsunade was about to continue saying something, Kushina and Mikoto finally found Hashiwa and Tsunade. Tsunade, old woman, you didn't do anything, did you? Kushina asked as she stared warily at Tsunade. Shinai, what did you say? Hearing that Shina dared to call her an old woman, Tsunade was suddenly a little annoyed. Now she hates others to say that she is old, and she is only 22, where is she old? Episode 123. Ahem, it looks like it's going to rain this day, let's get out of here first. Hashiha tried his best to change the subject, because now Tsunade and Kushina were about to fight. Little girl, you seem to be a little jumpy. Tsunade suddenly clenched his fists and stared viciously at Kushina. Humph, old woman, do you think I will still be afraid of you now? Shinai is now very deadly, and dares to provoke Tsunade, but Shinai now has a reliance, that is, the immortal mode. After turning on the immortal mode, the all-round improvement has skyrocketed Shinai's strength, and he may not be able to fight with Tsunade. As for the time it takes to turn on immortal mode, this problem can also be solved, and it is not enough to let Mikoto delay time for her. Kushina believes in Mikoto's ability, and it is still no problem to temporarily drag Tsunade, and when she enters the immortal mode, she will not be afraid of Tsunade. Very good, today I will teach you a lesson about this little girl. Tsunade made up his mind that he must teach Kushina a lesson, and even Hashiha would not want to stop her. Where am I small? Kushina looked at Tsunade unconvinced. Tsunade looked Shinai up and down, and then looked at Kushina defiantly and asked, then where do you think is comparable to me? Damn, don't be proud, I will definitely be able to surpass you later. Shinai stared at Tsunade and said, but Shinai's heart was not very confident. In some places Tsunade was indeed too arrogant, even in the future. Shina felt that he might not be able to compare. Okay, give me back. Hashiha held Tsunade with one hand and Shina with the other. He couldn't watch Tsunade and Shina really fight. Let go of me quickly, I'm going to duel with this woman Tsunade. Shinai shouted with her teeth dancing, seeing that you are so dishonest, I think it's better to stun. Xingyu raised his hand as if he really wanted to do it. Wait a minute. Shinai shouted in panic. Xingyu smiled slightly, and was about to continue saying something to scare Shinai, when he suddenly sensed that more than a dozen chakras were approaching this side. Letting go of Kushina and Tsunade, Hashiha turned and looked back. What's wrong? Tsunade sensed that Xingyu was wrong, and at this time, he didn't care about fighting with the little girl of Shinai. and asked Xingyu. There are 12 ninjas coming towards this side, and according to Chakra's judgment, the strength should not be weaker than that of Kami Shinobi. Hashiha said to Tsunade, from this direction, it will not be Konoha's ninja. It should be the enemy, but I didn't expect to meet the enemy just after coming to the battlefield. What kind of luck is this? Enemies? Tsunade was immediately ready for battle. Great. Kushina almost jumped up with excitement, just enough to show his strength, especially in front of Tsunade. Joshinai closed his eyes, carefully perceived and absorbed natural energy, and prepared to enter the immortal mode. Although he learned the immortal mode, Joshinai could not enter the immortal mode instantly, and it took up to 5 minutes to absorb natural energy. Well, it won't work with 5 minutes to prepare, and then 3 minutes to maintain. Joshinai's immortal mode is actually a bit chicken. What is she? Tsunade looked at Kushina strangely. Immortal mode is being turned on. What? Joshinai actually learned the immortal mode? Tsunade's strangeness turned into surprise. He didn't expect that Joshina would actually be able to cultivate into the immortal mode. As the granddaughter of the original Hokage, plus the records of the Senju clan, how could Tsunade not know the immortal model? Here it is. Xingyu said. Tsunade and Mikoto followed Hashiha's gaze, and saw 12 figures rushing towards this side. Looking at the forehead guards they wore on their foreheads, it was obviously not from the same shinobi village. These 12 ninjas wore the guards of Iwa Shinobu Village, Sand Ninja Village, Yunin Village, and Rain Shinobu Village. At this time, after they saw Xingyu and a few of them, they had already stopped and looked at Xingyu and them in their hearts. Judging from their shocked expressions, they also did not expect to meet Xingyu them. What to do? Our whereabouts have been discovered, and the mission seems to have failed. Among the 12 ninjas, one of them said with a very ugly face, they sneaked here and had a mission, but if they were discovered, the mission would definitely fail, and even their lives would be unsafe. What else can be done? Kill them as fast as you can, and then retreat. 3 of them, Yunin, pulled out their ninja swords and rushed towards Xingyu and them, with murderous looks on their faces. Hoshiyu looked at the 3 Kumo shinobi. In fact, there were many doubts in his heart, but Hoshiyu planned to solve them all before asking Tsunade. Xingyu asked me to come. Joshinai opened his eyes, and traces of immortal faces appeared on his forehead, corners of his eyes, and face. Okay. Xingyu also wanted to see how much Joshinai's strength had improved after entering the immortal mode. Before turning on the immortal mode, Joshinai's strength was probably elite upper patience. Yes, just 12-year-old elite upper patience. With good talent, coupled with Xingyu's teaching and urging cultivation, Joshinai can have such strong strength at this age. And after entering the immortal mode, Joshinai's strength has increased several times, or even more than 10 times. Monster Fist. In the state of Joshinai immortal mode, the power is already strong, and any punch will not be weaker than the usual use of strange power fists. Now in the state of immortal mode, he uses the strange power fist, and punches towards the enemy, and the sound of bones shattering is very loud. Crashed into several trees, flew out a distance of tens of meters, and his body was twisted into a strange shape. I don't think I hit him. Joshinai was stunned, and almost thought that the other party was acting. Her fist has not really touched the other party's body. It is actually exaggerated by tens of meters, and it has broken several trees. Is this true or fake? I actually fired an air cannon. Xingyu looked at Joshinai, quite surprised. Joshinai's punch just now was like the day tiger that Matkai used to open the 7th gate, compressing the air into high-pressure air bombs to attack. This requires extremely strong speed and strength to be able to fight, but this punch of Joshinai is definitely not comparable to the day tiger. It should be regarded as a reduced version of the day tiger, and Star Feather can also be punched. However, this fist, even if a shadow-level powerhouse faces it, as long as he is not proficient in physical skills, he will definitely not dare to make a head-on hard contact. Even Hashiha was surprised, not to mention Tsunade and Mikoto. The destructive power of this punch was beyond Tsunade's imagination. Feeling that this strange power fist, even if she makes a frontal hard contact, it will be very reluctant. No wonder when Joshinai faced her before, she looked fearless. It turned out to be a killing move. I don't know how Joshinai learned the immortal mode, but Tsunade guessed that it definitely had something to do with Hoshiyu. Anyway, Tsunade didn't believe that Joshina could learn the immortal mode himself. Episode 124. Joshinai punched and killed one of the upper ninja of the Yunin village, shocking the remaining 11 ninjas. They really couldn't imagine how such a powerful force erupted in that small body. Retreat, the woman over there is Tsunade, and the man is the demon of Uzumaki Star Feather. At this time, some of them recognized Xingyu and immediately fled without looking back. Eileen, when am I a demon? Xingyu couldn't help but say, when did he become a demon? He obviously looks so handsome. He can be called the first handsome in the ninja world. How can he be an ugly creature like a demon? Don't you know yet? Now both Shinobu and Yunin call you a demon. Tsunade said with a sudden smile. Hoshiyu didn't know if he was not on the battlefield, but Tsunade was on the battlefield, so he naturally knew. I can't let you run away. Xingyu instantly entered the immortal mode. He also wanted to experiment with the power of the immortal mode, although it has been a long time since he learned the immortal mode, but Xingyu has never used it. Senfa Ice Age. The entire forest was frozen by Star Feather, and the range of this forest was more than 10 kilometers, but it was easily frozen by Star Feather. Even so, Xingyu is deliberately controlling it, and he has not exerted his full strength. If he goes all out, Xingyu does not know how much he can freeze, and it will definitely not be worse than the green pheasant among One Piece, it should be stronger. The entire forest was frozen in ice, and the 11 ninjas naturally could not escape. They were frozen in ice, and their life characteristics disappeared in an instant. Didn't you say you wanted me to come? Jioshinai said with some displeasure. Jioshinai, can you promise not to let them go? Xingyu asked towards Jioshinai. Jioshinai stopped talking. She really couldn't guarantee that if the other party was bent on escaping and fled separately, Jioshinai would not be able to kill them all. After all, Jioshinai's immortal mode cannot be maintained all the time. There is time. As long as they survive the time that the Jioshinai immortal mode lasts, the possibility of escape is still very large. Let's go, let's leave, don't you feel cold? Hoshiyu dragged Kushina and them out of the frozen forest. Although the frozen forest looked very beautiful, but Hoshiyu was not interested in watching it. Using the big move of the Ice Age is to solve it quickly and then get out of here, but to deal with them using the immortal mode plus the Ice Age, it is really a cow knife to kill chickens. Back at the Konoha camp, Hashiha discovers that some of Konoha's ninjas have gone to the forest frozen by Hashiha ninjutsu to investigate. Ignoring it, following Tsunade to the tent where she lived, Hashiha couldn't help but curiously ask Tsunade, how did Yun Shinobu appear here? Yun Shinobu has also joined the war, you won't know it, right? Of course I know this, but how did Yun Shinobu appear on the border between the land of rain and the land of fire? This point Xingyu began to wonder in his heart when he saw those few cloud ninja. Even if Kumo Shinobu and Konoha go to war, they should not appear in the land of rain, and if Yun Shinobu wants to come to the land of rain, he needs to cross the land of frost, the country of Taki and the country of grass to reach the land of rain. This is a lot of effort. Obviously you can attack the fire country from other small countries. Why do you have to detour so far? Even it is very difficult to supply. I don't know about this. The 3 generations of old men sent people to investigate. Yun Shinobu traveled to the land of earth by sea, and then came from the country of earth to the battlefield of the land of rain. What? Xingyu was even more surprised when he heard this. The 3rd generation of Tokei Jinoki actually dared to let Yun Shinobu enter the territory of the land of earth. Was he so daring? In fact, when I got this news, I was also surprised. Maybe Yenin village and Yunin village reached some agreement. Tsunade couldn't figure it out. In fact, even Sarutobi was stunned. Forget it, it's of no use to me to explore these. Hoshiyu was not interested in continuing to explore. Anyway, no matter where Yun Shinobu attacked from, it was the enemy of Konoha village, and it didn't matter. As for what dirty calculations are in this, it has nothing to do with him. Tsunade, shall we have a discussion? Kushina walked up to Tsunade and asked Tsunade, call me sister. Tsunade glanced at Kushina and then said, I don't call it, and Xingyu hasn't called your sister. Jioshinai pouted, I used to be called Tsunade sister, but my strength was not as good as Tsunade, and I had no choice, but now Jioshinai feels that she already has the power to resist. Tsunade glanced at Hoshiyu when he heard this, but Hoshiyu touched his nose and turned his head. Humph, I don't have time to teach you a lesson now. I'll teach you a lesson when I have time, and I will definitely beat you and call your sister crying. Tsunade snorted softly and stood up, glanced at Kushina faintly, and then walked out of the tent. She wanted to tell the 3 generations of Hokage about the 12 unlucky ninjas before. I don't know what conspiracy they have, although they are all dead, but I have to tell the 3 generations of Hokage. She actually said that I would be beaten and cry my sister, which is also too despised for me. Kushina felt that Tsunade was looking down on her. Although you have the immortal mode, if you really fight Tsunade, there is a high probability that you will cry. Xingyu looked at Jioshinai and said, after turning on immortal mode, it is indeed powerful, but only if you can turn on immortal mode. Tsunade must give her 5 minutes. Moreover, the immortal mode can only last for 3 minutes, and within 3 minutes it can still compete with Tsunade, and even suppress Tsunade, but after 3 minutes, it is absolutely passively beaten. Xingyu, why are you going out? Mikoto saw that Hoshiyu also walked out, and couldn't help but ask, I'm going to do something, I'll be back soon, don't worry. Hashiha left the Konoha camp and, based on the information he had received from Tsunade, headed towards the camp where Kumo Shinobu was stationed. This time, Xingyu went to the Yunin camp. Naturally he had his purpose, and the purpose was the Thunder Chakra mode of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. The 3 generations of Thunder Shadow are known as the strongest spear and the strongest shield, able to fight hand to hand with the 8 tails, and in terms of physical skills, after removing the 6th level metamorphosis, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow can definitely rank in the top 3. And the reason why the body of the 3 generations of Lei Ying is so strong is naturally the Lei Dun Chakra mode. There are not many abilities that can enter the eyes of the stars, and the Lei Dun Chakra mode is counted as one, and it happens to have a high-level copy card, so it is natural to copy the laid-done chakra mode. Think about how much it will be enhanced after turning on the immortal mode to enhance yourself, and then using the thunder chakra mode? Xingyu was looking forward to it. By the way, Xingyu also wants to meet the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. After all, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows are indeed quite legendary. In this period, if you remove the star feathers and remove the half-dead Uchiha spot, no one should be the opponent of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. Although the 3 generations of Earth Shadows have blood succession to eliminate dust done that can decompose everything, but at the speed of 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, it is estimated that the dust done will also be given in vain, and if it can't be hit, no matter how strong the move is, it is useless. Episode 125. After Xingyu came to the Yunin camp, he did not alarm the sentient ninja of Yunin village, and easily sneaked into the Yunin camp. In other words, where are the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow? The Yunin camp is not small, and it is really a bit of a waste of time to find 3 generations of Thunder Shadows in this big camp. Xingyu thought for a while, grabbed a cloud ninja, and then opened the 3-hook jade riding wheel eye, hypnotized this cloud ninja, and learned the whereabouts of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows from his mouth. It's convenient to write chakra. Xingyu stabbed the Yun ninja who was hypnotized by him to death, and then walked towards the location where the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow were. According to the information obtained, the tent of the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow was quickly found, and then Xingyu walked directly in. Xingyu entered, obviously making the 3 generations of Laying stunned, frowned, and asked Xingyu, "Who are you? Don't you see my forehead?" Xingyu raised his hand and pointed to his forehead, but at this time, Xingyu remembered that he seemed to have forgotten to wear a forehead protector. "Sorry, I seem to have forgotten to wear a brace." The 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow stared at Xingyu for a while, frowning and asking, "You are Vortex Xingyu?" "Heh, I didn't expect that you actually know me for 3 generations of Laying." Xingyu looked at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow in surprise. At this time, Xingyu did not realize that his fame was already great, and the 3 generations of Laying had seen Xingyu's portrait. "It's really you. You're the little ghost who made the 3 generations of Kazekage and Hanzo suffer." The 3 generations of Laying sneered and stood up. After the 3 generations of Laying stood up, Xingyu found that this guy was really tall, and his height was definitely more than 2 meters, which was much taller than him. Xingyu is only about 1 meter 6 now, but he is only 12 years old, and among his peers, Xingyu is considered tall. Looking at the appearance of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows, it seems to be very disdainful of me. Xingyu smiled, obviously sensing from the tone of the 3 generations of Laying that the other party looked down on himself a little. "Humph, a little ghost, you are not a little dare, you actually dare to sneak into our Yunin camp." The 3 generations of Thunder Shadow snorted coldly, blue electric light appeared on his body, and the thunder and lightning wrapped around the body of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, improving his defense and speed, which is the Thunder Chakra mode of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. On the surface, he is very disdainful of Xingyu, but the 3 generations of Laying are still very vigilant in their hearts. After all, they can make the 3 generations of Wind Shadow and Hanzo, who is known as the demigod of the ninja world, suffer losses. Can they really be despised? Don't look at the 3rd generation of Laying is a big muscular man, just feel that he has no brains, can become Laying. Absolutely impossible to have developed limbs and simple mind. System, using an advanced copy card, replicates the Thunder Chakra mode of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. Xingyu secretly said to the system in his heart. In an instant, knowledge about the laid-done chakra mode appeared in Xingyu's mind, so that Xingyu could open the laid-done chakra mode at this time. Thunder Abuse Level Chiomai. The 3 generations of Laying moved instantly, jumped up and knocked the tent into a big hole, and then laid-done chakra gathered on his right hand and slashed towards Xingyu with his hand knife. The sound of thunder and lightning and the sound of tearing the air were mixed together, and the hand knife instantly appeared in front of Xingyu's face. Have you ever heard of beating people without hitting their faces? You are a little too much for the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow. Xingyu's voice came from behind the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. The 3rd generation of Thunder Shadows was shocked in their hearts. At this time, the hand knife had already slashed the vortex star feather in front of him, but the vortex star feather turned into smoke and disappeared, and it was actually just a shadow doppelganger. Immediately after that, the 3 generations of Laying felt a pain in the back, and the body endured a huge force, flew directly out of the tent, and smashed into the distance. Xingyu withdrew the kicked foot and stared at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows who were kicked out by him. Boy, you really have some skills. The 3 generations of Laying got up, patted the dust on his body, and withstood a kick from Xingyu, but nothing happened. In addition to being embarrassed and having some pain in the body that was kicked, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow were not injured, and the strongest shield was also worthy of its name. At this time, Yunren was also alarmed and surrounded one after another. 3rd generation Lord Laying, what are you? Yunren looked at the dirt on the body of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows, and the footprints behind him looked quite embarrassed, and he was suddenly a little stunned. The existence of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows is also able to fight the 8 tails hand-to-hand, and even beat the 8 tails. In the eyes of Yunren, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows have been mythologized to the level of 1,000 hand pillars. Well, this is just in the eyes of Yunren. Although the strength of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows is very strong, it is far from being comparable to the 1,000 hand pillar. Perhaps based on physical skills alone, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows may be stronger, but the strongest among the 1,000 hand pillars is immortal La Mu Duan. That power is simply destroying the heavens and the earth, and 10 third-generation Thunder Shadows will also be hanged. However, it seems that with physical skills alone, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows may not be able to defeat the 1,000 hand pillars. After all, the physical skills between the 1,000 hand pillars are not weak. His embarrassed appearance was seen by his subordinates, and the expression of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows sank slightly, and then shouted to these Cloud Ninjas, "All Cloud Ninja retreat." The 3 generations of Thunder Shadow know some information about Vortex Star Feather, and know that Vortex Star Feather will use a wide range of ice ninjutsu, and ordinary ninjas are sent to death for him. Yun Ninja obeyed the orders of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow and immediately retreated, including the elite Shangnan of Yunin Village, and the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow did not let them stay. "Aren't you looking for some help?" Xingyu came out of the broken tent and asked in a flat tone. "Against you, I myself will be enough." Righteous Thunder is angry with Thunder Axe. The 3 generations of Thunder Shadows burst out at an astonishing speed, and the whole person turned into an electric light, approaching Xingyu like lightning, and then raised his leg and slashed towards Xingyu with a tomahawk. "You're fast." Xingyu opened the eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eye, and after seeing the movements of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow clearly, dodged the attack of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. The attack of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows fell on the earth, and the earth cracked like a spider's web, and the shattered earth splashed out, and the smoke and dust shrouded the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. Before the smoke cleared, the body of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows came out and quickly went straight to Xingyu, and his elbow hit Xingyu's throat. To make a move is to make a ruthless move. Xingyu did not dodge, and also collided head-on with his elbow and the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. Rumble! A wave of air erupted between the collisions, and the ground was directly blown away by the wave of air. Star Feather withdrew tens of meters, and the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow were similar to Star Feather, and no one had an advantage in this collision. Xingyu looked at his elbow, blood flowed out, and his entire arm was slightly numb, but Xingyu didn't care at all, because the next moment the injury on his arm was recovered, and even the numbness disappeared. This is the self-healing ability of the perfect immortal body. Even fatal injuries can heal quickly, not to mention this small injury. And the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow was also injured. Looking at the blood flowing out of his arm, the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow fell into deep thought. He didn't know how long he hadn't been injured. "In the battle with me, you actually dare to be distracted. I admire your courage." Xingyu's fist enlarged in the eyes of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, and then the fist hit the face of the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow, and the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow was blasted out by a punch, and his cheek swelled. Episode 126. You dare to be distracted during the battle, and your face will swell on you. Xingyu looked at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows lying on the ground in the distance, and smiled coldly. The 3rd generation of Laying spat out a mouthful of blood, felt that his teeth were a little loose, and almost knocked out his teeth with a punch. "Just like you are also known as the strongest shield?" "I didn't use this title, you dare. Who gave you the courage?" Xingyu walked towards the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows, while mocking at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. "Little ghost, don't think that if you sneak up on your old husband, you think you can beat me. You are not qualified enough." The 3 generations of Thunder Shadows lying on the ground suddenly burst out, and their fists hit Xingyu head-on. This 3rd generation Thunder Shadow likes to greet other people's faces, and it just so happens that Xingyu also likes it. Star Feather's eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eye stared closely at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, and the attack of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow was fast, but it was slowed down countless times in Star Yu's eyes. Slightly sideways, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow fists fell into the air, and the body continued to rush forward under the action of inertia. "Fall for me." Xingyu clenched his fist, then jumped up, and the strange force that wrapped around chakra hit the back of the head of the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow. The eyes of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow widened, as if their eyeballs were about to burst out, and their bodies were in close contact with the earth, leaving a human-shaped hole in the earth. Xingyu walked to the position of the pit, looked at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow who had fallen in the pit for a long time and could not get up, and wondered if the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow was killed by his punch. Although the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow are extremely defensive under the Thunder Chakra mode, the back of the head is definitely one of the most vulnerable parts of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. "I didn't want to kill you, but if you are really accidentally killed by me, then don't blame me. Your defense is too weak." Xingyu said to the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow lying on the corpse. "Vortex Star Feather, Do you think this level of attack can kill me? The 3 generations of Thunder Shadows supported their bodies and came out of the pit. At this time, the mind of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows was a little confused, their eyes were black, and they held on hard to prevent themselves from fainting. Xingyu used a strange power fist to hit the back of the head of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, and even under the lay-down chakra mode, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow almost took a bento. It's worthy of being a 3rd generation Thunder Shadow. The body is really tough. In terms of resisting beatings, Vortex Star Feather is willing to admit that you are the strongest. Hellspurt Shibanjutsu. The 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow suddenly took out a killing move, roared angrily, and killed towards Xingyu. Thunder Chakra mode. Xingyu's body is wrapped with the same lay-dun chakra as the 3 generations of Laying, and after using the lay-dun chakra mode, Xingyu can feel that his body cells are stimulated by lay-dun chakra, and the cell activity is stronger. Crackling lightning flashed around the body, the defense was improved a lot, the body felt lighter, and the explosive power was greatly improved. See if my fists are hard, or your fingers are hard. Xingyu's fist struck towards the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, and collided with the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow's Hellspur Ben Shun hand. Hellspur Shihongo is a move that concentrates chakra on 4 fingers, and its penetration is very strong, which is much stronger than Raikage. Moreover, the power of this technique can be increased as the number of fingers decreases, and when this technique is strengthened to only 1 finger, it is called the strongest spear. Boom! In this collision, the 3 generations of Laying flew out directly this time, and 4 fingers were directly fractured. Xingyu glanced at his fist, and a few drops of blood dripped from his fist, which was worthy of the killing move of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, and Xingyu's hand was also injured. However, this kind of injury, it probably doesn't take a minute, Xingyu can recover, and the perfect immortal body's self-healing ability is terrifying. The 3 generations of Laying sweated because of the pain, and all 4 fingers were fractured. All said that 10 fingers were connected to the heart, and the pain of the fingers was unbearable even for the 3 generations of Laying. Why do you use the Thunder Chakra mode? The 3rd generation of Laying was also hard, holding back the pain and asking Xingyu. Hehe, I will not only be in the Thunder Chakra mode, you will basically know it now. Xingyu said with a smile. This time Xingyu's gain is really great. The ninja art used by the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow in front of him, Star Feather has already stolen over. The ninjutsu of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow is actually the core of the lay-dun chakra mode. Sharingan has the ability to copy, and Hoshiyu has copied all the ninja techniques performed by 3 generations of Thunder Shadow during the battle, including Hellspur Shibanjutsu. If there is no lay-dun chakra mode, even if it is copied, Star Feather will not be able to exert the true power of ninjutsu. But Star Feather uses the copy card to copy the lay-dun chakra mode. Thunder Abuse level Chiomai. Xingyu instantly appeared in front of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows, and then the hand knife shot towards the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. A striking knife knocked the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow away, and left a deep bone scar in front of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. It's very powerful, Xingyu said with a smile. The heart of the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow sank, and the Thunder level Chio dance cast by Vortex Star Feather was exactly the same as what he cast, but the power was stronger than him. When Xingyu does not use the Thunder Chakra mode, the physical technique is not weaker than the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow, and when the Thunder Chakra mode is cast, the physical skill is stronger than the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow, and the moves cast are naturally stronger. Thank you for your generous teaching, take your leave, Xingyu said to the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. Now he can obviously kill the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, but Star Feather has no intention of making a move on the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. 3 generations of Laying, this time for the sake of learning a lot from you, I won't kill you. But I give you a piece of advice, it's best to leave with Yunren, it's really too simple for me to kill you. Hoshiyu glanced back at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, and then used Huangquan Hirasaka to open a spatial door, stepped into it and left the Yunin camp. Xingyu didn't say anything big just now, it was really simple for him to kill the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. This time in the battle with the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, he just used physical skills, and there were too many abilities that were not used. If you use illusion, you can kill the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow in seconds, as well as Bing Duan, Susanoo, Sharingan Pupil, Immortal Mode, which cannot easily deal with the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. Not killing the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow is because Xingyu has his own considerations. If the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow is too ignorant, then the end of the 3rd generation of Water Shadow is his end. After Xingyu left for a long time, the Cloud Ninja came back, and when they saw the embarrassed and seriously injured 3rd generation Thunder Shadow, they immediately rushed over. 3rd generation Thunder Shadow Lord, are you alright? I'm okay. The 3rd generation of Laying stood up, saying that he was fine, but the blood left on his body and his shaking hands could show that he was not fine, but just stubborn. Medical Ninja, hurry up and treat Lord Thundercage's injuries. One of the Yunin village elites shouted. Immediately, several medical ninjas ran over to check the injuries of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, and the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow did not refuse, and his injuries must be treated. Especially the injury to his finger. If he misses the treatment and leaves sequelae, I am afraid that he will not even be able to use the Hell Spurt in the future. Episode 127. Is Lord Laying alright? After the medical ninja examination, the elite of Yunin village went to the ninja platform and asked the medical ninja. Lord Laying's other injuries are fine, but the finger is broken, and it is best not to move the finger for a short time. The medical ninja of Yunin village said. There is a huge scar in front of the 3rd generation of Laying that was beaten out by the Xingyu hand knife, and the depth of the wound can be seen to the bone. But compared to this injury, the injury on the finger is more serious. How long will it take to recover? The 3 generations of Thunder Shadow asked towards the medical ninja. This depends on Lord Laying's recovery. This medical ninja could not give the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow an accurate time. Each of them had different physiques and different recovery situations. However, with the use of medical ninjutsu treatment, it should not take too long. Lord Laying, who actually injured you? Sukadai asked towards the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. Before Xingyu came out of the tent, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow let Yun Shinobu leave and retreated far away, so they didn't see who was fighting with the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow. Even though there was a lot of movement between Xingyu and the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow just now, Yunren did not come to check it, because they trusted the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow too much. I believe that no matter who the opponent is, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow can solve it, but they did not expect that it would be the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow who suffered. After glancing towards the earthen platform, the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow said in a deep voice, "The other party is Vortex Star Feather." With the pride of the 3 generations of Laying, he naturally would not hide who injured him. What? Yunren was a little surprised. It was actually a Vortex Star Feather. Xingyu's reputation was extremely famous because of the spread of Sand Shinobu and Rain Shinobu, and Yun Shinobu had naturally heard about it, but they were all quite disdainful. According to the information obtained, Vortex Star Feather is just a 12-year-old ghost. Even if he is a genius and demon at this age, how strong can he be? It used to be that we despised Uzumaki Star Feather, and the ninja who went on a mission in the future encountered Uzumaki Star Feather and allowed to abandon the mission and escape. The 3rd generation of Laying said, "Lord Laying, is the Vortex Star Feather really strong?" Sukadai asked in disbelief. The 3rd generation of Laying would actually give such an order. Very strong. The 3 generations of Laying's uninjured left hand clenched and said extremely seriously. Before fighting with Uzumaki Star Feather, he only used physical skills, and although the Sharingan was also opened, Uzumaki Xingyu did not use the pupil technique of the Sharingan. There is also the divine skill of the Sand Shinobu and the Rain Shinobu that has not been used, and as for whether there are other means, this 3rd generation Thunder Shadow does not know. Tutai looked at the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows and no longer asked more. In fact, looking at the current injuries of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows, you can know how strong the strength of the Vortex Star Feather is. The 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, who were not injured in hand-to-hand combat, were actually injured so badly. From here you can speculate about the strength of the Vortex Star Feather, and the reason why I asked about the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow just now was just a little unbelievable in my heart. On the other side, Hashiha has now returned to Camp Konoha. After Hashiha returned, Tsunade, who had reported the situation to the 3 generations of Hokage, had returned. What did you go to do? Why are the clothes torn? Tsunade asked towards Hashiha. Tsunade came back and asked Kushina and Mikoto, but Kushina and Mikoto didn't know what Hashiha was going to do. After all, Hashiha didn't tell them when he went out. Move your hands and feet, Xingyu said with a slight smile. Mikoto came over and looked around Xingyu, and found that although Xingyu's clothes were a little damaged, fortunately the person was not injured, and she was relieved. The little injury he suffered has been recovered, and some of the blood stains that were originally stained on his body have also been cleaned up by Xingyu, and nothing can be seen. Did you go to someone to fight? Joshinai asked towards Xingyu. Tsunade, Kushina, Mikoto, and Kanami all stared at Hashiba, and Hashiba had to say, I went to find the 3rd generation of Laying to have a discussion, and learn something by the way. 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. You went to find the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow? Tsunade's mood became serious, and in this ninja world war, he also had an understanding of the powerful strength of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. In the previous war, even her teacher Ape Flying Sun Slash, facing 3 generations of Thunder Shadow was in the inferiority, plus Shimura Danzo and the 2 of them joined forces to drag down a 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow. Just dragging it cannot be suppressed. The 3 generations of Thunder Shadow open the Thunder Chakra mode, shrouded in the armor of Thunder Shadow, and any attack cannot break the defense of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. Really no injuries? Tsunade asked, staring at Hashiha. No, if you don't believe me, I'll take off all my clothes and check them, and if you can find a trace of scars, I'll call you Tsunade-san in the future. What did you call me? Tsunade-san. Not bad, brother Xingyu. Tsunade patted Hashiha's head, and then said with a smile on his face. Only then did Xingyu react. he was actually taken advantage of by Tsunade. Poof. Xiaonan laughed, but when he noticed Xingyu's gaze looking over, he immediately covered his small mouth and stopped laughing. Xiaonan, can you tell me what you were laughing at just now? Xingyu half squatted down and pinched Xiaonan's cheeks with both hands and asked. It is estimated that Xiaonan is laughing at you, stupid, so simply being tricked by Tsunade. I think you are a little not very smart. Jiao Shinai said mercilessly. Jiao Shinai, you are getting more and more poisonous. I don't teach you, your skin is itchy, right? Xingyu let go of Xiaonan and stared dangerously at Jiao Shinai. Xiaonan had a happy expression on his face, and at the same time glanced at Jiao Shinai gratefully. Sure enough, Sister Jiao Shinai was really a good person, and successfully diverted the attention of Xingyu's brother. I'm pretty good now. Jiao Shinai gestured towards Xingyu. Hehe, can you still have me? Xingyu sneered, and then raised his fist and punched Jiao Shinai's head. Holding his head and squatting on the ground, Jiao Shinai looked at Xingyu with tears in his eyes. It hurts, I want revenge. Unable to swallow this breath, the more Jiao Shinai thought about it, the more he lost money, and then he got up directly, cast a set of Wang 8 fists, and hit Xingyu. Well, the so-called Wang Baquan is relying on his own instincts, rushing up and punching indiscriminately, saying that the random punch kills the teacher, although there is no method, but it is actually quite practical. However, there were more flaws, and Xingyu seized the opportunity, reached out and grabbed Jiao Shinai's wrist with both hands, and then subdued Jiao Shinai. Let me go, or I'll bite you. The subdued Jiao Shinai did not admit defeat and was still struggling. Let me let go of you too, but only if you can't continue to do it with me. Xingyu said towards Jiao Shinai. Jiao Shinai nodded and agreed to come down, and seeing that Jiao Shinai agreed to come down, Xingyu let go of Jiao Shinai. It's just that after Xingyu let go of Jiao Shinai suddenly stopped talking about credit, and once again unleashed the Wang Ba fist that he was best at, and punched towards Xingyu. But the final result, of course, was the same as just now, and he was subdued by Xingyu again. Episode 128. At night, it rains lightly outside the tent, which is the border between the land of fire and the land of rain, and it also rains frequently. Jiao Shinai, are you convinced? Xingyu asked with a smile on his face. Humph, smelly Xiaoyu, you still don't think about it. I Jiao Shinai will definitely not bow my head. Jiao Shinai, who was tied up, snorted softly, turned his head and said very hard. Before Xingyu subdued Jiao Shinai, and then released Jiao Shinai again, but Jiao Shinai was still unconvinced and wanted to find Xingyu to settle the account, so Xingyu tied Jiao Shinai up. Jiao Shinai, we're going to eat. If you continue to be tied, how can you eat? Do you have to go hungry? Listen to me. Mikoto said with a small face towards Kushina. As for why the little face is tight? This is because Mikoto is afraid that she will accidentally laugh. Mikoto, although I don't have proof, I think you're watching me joke right now. Kushina stared at Mikoto and said suspiciously, we're good girlfriends, how could I possibly watch your jokes? Mikoto, you can pull down, if you really think that I am a good girlfriend and a good sister, let me go now. I'm sorry Jiao Shinai, just now Xingyu said, if I let you go, let me be tied up here instead of you. Mikoto shook her head and said. Xingyu had a question mark on his face, when did he say that? Mikoto actually slandered him in front of him. Mikoto, didn't you say that we are good girlfriends, so as a good friend of mine, wouldn't it be okay to help me suffer a little? Kushina said to Mikoto. Mikoto pondered for a moment when she heard this, and then seemed to have made a big decision. In that case, then Jiao Shinai will not be best friends in the future. After speaking, Mikoto turned around, and then left Jiao Shinai with a back. Gee, is this the relationship between you? Tsunade looked at Kushina with amusement. Sister Jiao Shinai is so pitiful. Xiaonan looked at Jiao Shinai pitifully. Xiaonan, I don't need to be pitiful yet. Jiao Shinai said with an angry hum. Xingyu walked over and let go of Jiao Shinai, and Jiao Shinai looked at Xingyu with a question mark on his face. Actually let her go so easily, shouldn't there be a conspiracy? Don't be suspicious of anything, I just look at you pitifully. Xingyu said with a slight smile. Damn, I'm not pitiful, anyway, Xingyu will always like me, right? Jiao Shinai threw himself on Xingyu's body and said. Tsunade saw Jiao Shinai pounce on Hoshiyu's body, and a feeling of unhappiness rose in his heart, and he walked over and pulled Jiao Shinai over. Jiao Shinai, don't make trouble, eat quickly, otherwise the food will be cold in a while. Tsunade pressed Jiao Shinai and said, that's right. Mikoto echoed. Xiaonan, on the other hand, sat obediently next to Xingyu, waiting for the meal to open. After eating, Xingyu thought of a very important thing. That is, they did not have a place to live. They forgot about this, they came here and haven't set up a tent. It seems that tonight, I will spend the night at Tsunade's place. Xingyu couldn't help but say, okay, I have no opinion. It's a bit crowded, but you can barely make do with it. Jiao Shinai said, although Tsunade's tent is relatively large, it is still a bit crowded if they all live here. Jiao Shinai, if you dislike it, you can go out and sleep in the rain. Tsunade said to Kushina, I'm not stupid. Kushina glanced at Tsunade. Only fools would go out to sleep. During the break, a controversial thing happened. I'm going to sleep next to Xingyu. Joshinai said, this is my place, shouldn't it be me arranged? Tsunade glanced at Kushina and then spoke. I think it's better to let Xingyu decide. Mikoto looked at Hashiha. I'm going next to brother Xingyu. Xiaonan ran directly to Xingyu's side and grabbed Xingyu's arm tightly. Alas, isn't that the affliction of being too popular? Xingyu suddenly sighed, sighing on the surface, and was quite proud in his heart. Xingyu, name your choice. Tsunade, Kushina, Mikoto, and even Konan were all staring at Hashiha, waiting for Hashiha's choice, and at this time Hashiba was also distressed. At this time, if you really make a choice, it is a dead end, so Xingyu thought of a way, that is, through the method of grabbing the lot. Then Kushina and Mikoto lay proudly next to Hashiha, while Konan's fowl lay on Hashiha, and the rest of Tsunade was very depressed. Ahem, how about you put Tsunade under me? Hashiha coughed lightly, looking at Tsunade expectantly and asking, me, believe it or not, I'll kick you all out, I'm annoying, don't bother me. Tsunade turned around angrily. Early the next morning, Xingyu should be the first to wake up. Looking at Xiaonan who was sleeping soundly in his arms, Xingyu did not bother. Just lie down like this for a while. And on the left is Mikoto, on the right is Kuzuna, which feels quite wonderful. Well, wait. Hoshiju turned his head to the right side was originally Joshinai, but now it has become Tsunade, and Joshina is on the other side of Tsunade. How did the two of them switch places? Just as Hashiba stared at Tsunade, Tsunade opened his eyes and then looked at Hashiha. What are you looking at? Tsunade rubbed his eyes and asked towards Hashiha. Well, I remember last night, wasn't it? Yes, in the middle of the night last night, Joshinai had to switch places with me, so I was here. Tsunade said. Well, Tsunade's words, Hoshiju really didn't believe a word. At this time, Mikoto and Konan, who also woke up, and Mikoto and Konan, looked at Tsunade next to Hashiha and were surprised. Tsunade saw them wake up, made a boo gesture at them, and then pointed at Kushina, meaning to tell them not to wake up Kushinai. Last night was when Tsunade was sleeping while Joshinai was asleep, and he exchanged positions with Joshinai, but he couldn't let Joshinai know, otherwise Joshina would probably fight with her. Although he is not afraid of Joshinai, but Joshinai is too difficult, Tsunade does not want to entangle with Joshinai. I'm ready for breakfast. Mikoto got up and washed up, and went to prepare breakfast. Xiaonan went to wash up, and then began to refine chakra and cultivate hard. Xiaonan is really working hard. Tsunade looked at Xiaonan and couldn't help but say, with Xiaonan's efforts, her achievements will definitely not be low in the future. Yes, if you could have half of Xiaonan's efforts, your strength would not be so weak now. Hashiha said with a glance at Tsunade. Xingyu, do you actually think my strength is weak? Now it is said that she is weak. It is estimated that only Xingyu is alone. Anyway, in my eyes, Tsunade's strength is really not strong. SOSO. It is estimated that even the 3 generations of Wind Shadow, Mountain Pepperfish Hanzo, and the like can't beat. Tsunade was silent. I wasn't sure I could defeat them. But are the 3 generations of Kazekage and Hanzo weak? One of them is known as the strongest Wind Shadow in history, and the other is known as a demigod in the ninja world. How do you feel that you look down on them a little? Episode 129. While eating breakfast, Tsunade's mood was dull, and Joshina looked at Tsunade with a dull expression with a puzzled expression. What's wrong with her? Joshina asked in a low voice, to Mikoto next to her. Before Xingyu said that her strength was weak, she was probably a little unhappy. Mikoto lowered her voice and replied to Kushinai, can you two have lower voices? Tsunade raised his head and glanced at the two of them, then said. Joshina and Mikoto were suddenly a little embarrassed, but they didn't expect to be heard, and their ears were so good. Ahem, do you want me to teach you a secret technique? Hashiha put down the rice balls in his hand and asked Tsunade, a cult? What secret art? Joshinai is very interested. The secret art is generally the secret of a family or a ninja village, and it is generally very powerful. It's like the sealing technique of the Vortex family, and it used to be regarded as the secret technique of the Vortex family. As for now, after the Vortex clan was extinguished, some of the sealing technique was passed down. Thunder Chakra Mode, the secret technique of 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. Xingyu smiled lightly, and then said, that's right, Hashiha intends to teach the Thunder Chakra Mode to Tsunade. Copying ninjutsu is different from copying the blood succession limit, although the ice blood succession limit is copied, but Xingyu is not clear at all about how to use the 2 nature changes of wind and water to fuse into ice limit. However, copying the Lei Dun Chakra Mode, about the cultivation and application of the Lei Dun Chakra Mode, all appeared in Xingyu's mind. Do you know the Thunder Chakra Mode of the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow? Tsunade looked at Hoshiju in surprise. This should be the housekeeping skill of the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow. How did Hoshi Feather learn it? What do you think I'm going to find the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow for? Is it just to fight with him? This kind of simple thing, I just have to look at it, I can learn it in minutes. Anyway, bragging is not taxed, so Xingyu does not mind bragging, but if Xingyu says this in front of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows, maybe the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows will really believe it. After learning the Thunder Chakra mode, maybe you will become the same as the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow. Become the same as the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, as muscular as him? If that's the case, I refuse. Tsunade refused, without hesitation. Shinai, who was originally quite interested, heard Tsunade's words, and the idea of wanting to learn was instantly dispelled. Thinking about his appearance full of muscles, Shinai himself said that he couldn't accept it, and Xingyu definitely wouldn't like himself like that. When Mikoto heard Tsunade's words, she stayed away like Kushina. As for Xiaonan, well, I ate breakfast silently. The 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow is a muscle trained by cultivating physical arts, and it should have nothing to do with the laid-down chakra mode. Xingyu said with some stunned. Anyway, I can't cultivate. I think the strange power technique is very good. Tsunade made a direct statement. As for how powerful the laid-down chakra mode is, this is not important for Tsunade. The important thing is not to cultivate this to become a muscle woman. After Tsunade's attitude, Kushina and Mikoto also directly stated that they would not learn the laid-down chakra model. Seeing that they were reluctant to learn, Xingyu simply didn't mention it. When Hashiha came to the battlefield, the war suddenly stopped, and Konoha, who was jointly attacked by the 4 ninja villages, also had a chance to breathe. Sure enough, I am still powerful, and I shocked the ninjas of the 4 ninja villages when I first came to the battlefield. Xingyu couldn't help but say, will you die without bragging? Tsunade gave Hashiha a blank look. Tsunade, why are you so idle? There are also many injured ninjas in Konoha, don't you treat them? Hashiha turned his head to look at Tsunade and asked, can't I take a break? Konoha isn't the only medical ninja. Tsunade sat next to Hoshiyu and watched the light rain outside. It has been 5 days since Xingyu came to the battlefield, and it has been raining for 3 of these 5 days, although it is all light rain, but it still feels very sick. Isn't Konoha planning to counterattack? If you are blindly passive, you will never be able to win this war, and only by taking the initiative can we end this war as quickly as possible. I don't know, how do we know what the 3 generations of old men think? I don't participate in the usual meetings. Tsunade pouted. Oh, it's boring. Hashiha felt so bored. In Konoha, there was still a place to play, and on the battlefield it was too boring. Xingyu wanted to start a war, but when he came to the battlefield, suddenly the 2 sides were muted and stopped fighting. Uzumaki Star Feather, the 3rd generation of Hokage-sama, has a task to hand over to you. Just when Hashiha was bored, a ninja came here and handed Hashiha a mission book. Then the ninja left, and Hashiha opened the mission book with curiosity. Tsunade next to him leaned over and glanced at the mission book. The mission was to destroy IWA Shinobu's material supplies, and there was also the delivery route of IWA Shinobu's materials. It's good to have a task, otherwise I feel like I'm going to mold. Xingyu stood up, quite excitedly. You are actually happy with this dangerous task. Tsunade glanced at Hashiha and said slightly speechlessly, destroying the enemy's material supplies is one of the most dangerous tasks on the battlefield, because no matter which shinobi village, they attach great importance to their own supplies, and the strength of protection will naturally not be small. Danger is for others, there is no danger to me at all. Xingyu said incomparably inflated. Yes, he is now inflated. Immortal mode plus eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eyes. Who is his opponent in the ninja world at this time? The old guy Uchiha is not dead, but the half-dead Uchiha spot. Xingyu promised that if he dared to come out, Xingyu would let him die early. Mikoto, Kushina, you're going on a mission, are you going? Hashiba shouted at Mikoto and Kushina. Go, of course go. Kushina immediately pulled Mikoto out, then followed Hashiha, and they left the Konoha camp together. In fact, it is also very easy for Hashiha to complete the task alone, and as for why he called Kushina and Mikoto, of course, it is not so boring when performing the task. If you are alone, wouldn't it be boring to go on a mission, and it would feel much better to have Kushina and Mikoto by your side. Is the intelligence accurate? We have all waited for so long, and we have not waited for the team to escort the supplies. Could it be that the intelligence is wrong? Shinai couldn't help but complain. How do I know this? If the intelligence is wrong and the mission fails, it has nothing to do with us. Xingyu was holding a grass, relatively calm. I have been waiting here for more than a day, and I haven't seen the team delivering supplies, although the intelligence says that this is the only way for IWA Shinobu to transport supplies. But the intelligence may not really be wrong. Xingyu was calm on the surface, but in fact, he also felt very unhappy in his heart. If the mission really failed, after he went back, he must ask who provided this information. Episode 130. Ding, the master is coming on a mission, do you want to check it? As Hashiha was cursing the Konoha ninja who provided false information, the voice of the system in his head sounded. Actually came to the mission? Xingyu was a little surprised. The tasks of the system are really pitiful. The system has been awakened for 7 or 8 years, but the tasks issued are no more than 5. There are 2 missions this time. 2 missions at once. What are the tasks? Xingyu asked, even more surprised. Mission, destroy the Otsuki family on the moon. Mission reward, God level copy card ×1, failure without penalty. Mission duration, none. Mission, break into the IWA Shinobi camp and destroy IWA Shinobi supplies. Mission reward, advanced copy card ×1, no penalty for failure. Mission duration, 3 days. A mission without a deadline, and it is also a big tube wood family that destroys the moon. This star feather cannot be completed for the time being, because I don't know how to go to the moon. Although it is known that there is a space passage to the moon, Xingyu does not know where the space passage is. However, there is no mission deadline, so Xingyu is not in a hurry. The other one has a mission deadline, and if Xingyu does not complete it in 3 days, the mission will be cancelled by itself. Let's go. Hashiha patted Kushina and Mikoto and said to the two of them, go? Didn't we finish the task? Joshinai couldn't help but ask. Of course it has to be completed, but I'm afraid I can't wait here. It is estimated that the materials have already been delivered to the IWA Shinobi camp, so we went to the IWA Shinobi camp. Wouldn't that be too dangerous? Mikoto said. Mikoto, are you underestimating me? A few days ago, I broke into the Yunin camp and beat up the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows. How could there be danger? That's it, let's go quickly. Joshinai looked expectant. She was not afraid of any danger, but felt very exciting. Okay. Mikoto nodded and looked at Joshinai, ready to keep staring at Joshinai. Not very worried about Hashiba. Mikoto knows that Hashiba is strong, but Mikoto is worried about Joshinai. In case Joshinai is too reckless, it is really dangerous, so Mikoto is ready to be optimistic about Joshinai. From here, it wasn't too far to get to the IWA Shinobi camp, and it didn't take long for Hashiyu and them to come to the vicinity of the IWA Shinobi camp. Are we going to sneak in? Mikoto asked to Hashiha. Sneak in? No, we went straight into it. Let IWA Shinobu taste my new ninjutsu, fire escape Hauyan spiral pill. A huge fire attribute chakra sphere appeared in Xingyu's hand, and the flames did not rage out, but steadily formed a flame sphere. Xingyu raised it, and this fireball was about 10 meters in diameter, which looked quite amazing. Then Hoshiyu threw the fireball towards the IWA Shinobi camp, which is not a tent, but an earthen house built with a dirt hide, and IWA Shinobu is more particular than Konoha. The huge explosive flame spiral pill smashed over, and after hitting an earthen house, a 10-meter fireball instantly burst out, and the 100-meter range directly turned into a sea of fire. The earth house was directly melted by the flame, and a magma-like substance appeared on the ground, and the soil melted by the fire turned into magma. This is your new ninjutsu? It feels more powerful than the wind escape spiral shuriken. Joshinai looked at Xingyu with bright eyes. It can't be said to be more powerful than the spiral shuriken, but it can only be said that each has its own merits. Xingyu shook his head and said to Joshinai, let's go, kill inside, find IWA Shinobu's supplies, and destroy them. After Hoshiyu finished speaking, he took the lead and walked towards the IWA Shinobi camp, and Kushina and Mikoto immediately followed Hoshiyu. It feels like you want to destroy the IWA Shinobu camp as well. After walking in, seeing the tragic situation in the IWA Shinobi camp, Joshinai couldn't help but complain. Facing so many IWA Shinobi, I feel a little nervous. Mikoto clenched her grip and looked at IWA Shinobu in front of her. Xingyu directly threw an S-grade ninjutsu fire Dunhauyan spiral pill over. Such a big movement, so that IWA Shinobu directly gathered. Even the 3rd generation of Tokage Inoki is here. Are you Vortex Star Feather? Inoki stared angrily at Hashiyu, his beard fluttering because of his anger. It seems that they all know me, and my fame is getting bigger and bigger. It's really distressing. Xingyu said with a distressed look. Kushina and Mikoto glanced at Hashiyu. I'm afraid you're not distressed, but proud. Although I know that Inoki you are very short, I didn't expect to meet you more famously. You look shorter than I expected. Hoshiyu uncovered Inoki's scars. To be honest, the height problem is also a pain for Inoki, so short that even as a soil shadow, it is very unmajestic. Although his reputation in IWA Shinobu village is very high, this is what he runs now. And when he first took office as Tokage, Inoki was ridiculed for his height. So what Inoki hates most is that others say he is short, followed by his red rosacea. Xingyu, why is his nose so big? It's still very red, and it looks so ugly. Joshinai said towards Xingyu. Inoki clenched his fists. He couldn't bear it, mocked his height, and now mocked his nose. If he endured it any longer, he would become a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Uzumaki Star Feather, you dare to attack our camp alone, and let you, a famous genius of Konoha, die here today. Inoki rushed towards Xingyu at speed, and then used the Tuduan rock fist technique to smash towards Xingyu. It's worthy of being a soil shadow. Don't look short, but it's fast. Hoshi Feather dodged Inoki's Awafist attack, then kicked Inoki into the body, and Inoki flew back faster than when he came. Such a Kitsama. The IWA ninja caught Inoki in a panic, but IWA Shinobu, who caught Inoki, was unfortunately smashed out a long way together, and also used Inoki as a meat mat, and died gloriously. Sachikage-sama, are you alright? The IWA Shinobu gathered around and asked Onogi in a panic. Inoki is equivalent to the soul of IWA Shinobu, but it can't be an accident. If something happens to Inoki, then IWA Shinobu will become a headless fly. Ahem. Inoki coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood, and then endured the pain and yelled, hurry up and disperse. Wind Escape Spiral Shuriken, Senfa, Fengdun, Spiral Shuriken. The two Spiral Shurikens, the ordinary Spiral Shuriken was used by Hoshiyu, and the Fairy Spiral Shuriken was used by Jio Shurnai after entering the Immortal mode. Two Spiral Shurikens smashed over, and even if Inoki shouted out the order to scatter in time, it was still affected by many ninjas. The 130 trillion cells of the ninja's body were destroyed by countless chakra blades as tiny as needles, and he was directly killed. Phew, it's a lot of consumption for chakra. Jioshinai exhaled and said. Even Jioshinai, a whirlpool clan with a huge chakra, felt that the consumption of chakra was great. However, the greater the ninjutsu consumed by chakra, the more powerful it is, and the power of the Wind Escape Spiral Shuriken is also strong enough, and ordinary ninjas will definitely not be able to block this move. Jioshinai is used in the state of Immortal mode, and the power is greater, but even so, Jioshinai's Fairy Spiral Shuriken is still not as powerful as the Spiral Shuriken released by Xingyu. Although Jioshinai has the enhancement of the Fairy Chakra, but Xingyu uses this Spiral Shuriken and uses chakra that is several times more powerful than Jioshinai, and the power is naturally greater.